Hello, and welcome to another episode of Politics and Black Love. I am your host. I am one of your hosts, Brooke Sinclair, of the By Our Blood Political Action Committee. And yes, we are back with another episode of Politics and Black Love.
How you doing? And I am Portia E. I am your co-host for Politics and Black Love from Sincerely Black Love. And welcome.
Welcome. Portia, I'm going to let you. We'd like to welcome everybody to the show. We appreciate you spending your time with us today and for today's incredibly important and timely topic. They're slave catchers, not police. So, what is Politics and Black Love? Politics and Black Love is a news commentary show for up to date information about elections and reparations. For By Our Blood, we are what's called a super PAC. Purpose of a super PAC is to buy campaign ads and radio ads and marketing that expresses a political cause or issues that are important for us, important to Black Americans voters. We like to educate Black American voters about policies and candidates that could potentially harm them, as well as candidates and policies that will bless them and help us to prosper and create a Black state majority. Why By Our Blood? Well, we're called By Our Blood. It was named By Our Blood because of myself, the founder. I, like many of other Black Americans, grew up thinking that I was from mysterious place in Africa, only to trace my ancestors with my genealogy and find out that I could trace my ancestors back to this land, American soil, as far back as 1537. And I could have gone farther. That was all I needed to know. I was like, once you get to 15s, I was done. I was like, okay, I'm done. So my ancestors fought in the Revolutionary War of 1776, the War of 1812, the Civil War, and World War I and II. Basically, the foundation of America was built by my ancestors' blood and me, so that my ancestors, their blood, sweat, and tears, and many others like me. So we're called By Our Blood, otherwise known as the Blood Pack. How can you get involved in the pack? Well, contact us at www.buyourblood.org, and you can join us in donating. We're raising funds for Miss Norma Walker in St. Louis, who is who is running for the general elections on April the 4th. Portia, would you like to tell us a little about Sincerely Black Love?
Yes, I would. And so I am Portia E. I am the founder of Sincerely Black Love, and we are a lineage based business where our focus is to bring Black Americans together in love and in lineage. What we want to do with Politics and Black Love is really center Black families, uplift and honor nuclear families, and also just give you some Black love inspiration along the way. I am a strong advocate of being politically engaged, especially for Black Americans. So to do this platform, I think it's a great way to just bring important things that are about reparations to Black Americans, and something that's just fun. We like to bring the smoke a little bit. We have the hot topics, which we'll have some later on today. But another thing that Sincerely Black Love is really focused on is love and lineage. And with lineage, we really want Black Americans to know how much their ancestors really love them and how much their ancestors really made sacrifices, the sacrifices that were made by our ancestors for us to be here today, to really enjoy the riches that they laid for this great United States. And then also we have a dating show that is in planning and preparation. We are building a roster of Black Americans across the United States who are single, looking to mingle, but to do that in meaningful, intentional ways. So, this is the first platform for Black Americans to date, to find compatibility, and hopefully find love. So, if that is you, we do want you to visit us at sincerelybblacklove.com, where you will see a brief application there for you to get loaded into our roster. Also, what makes our platform very special, as I stated, is it is intentional. We have a specialized sexologist who is on our staff to make sure that, hey, we are really meeting the needs and wants and desires of Black Americans. So yes, more information at Sincerely Black Love. We have matchmakers, and we also have mindset coaches. So that's a little bit about Sincerely Black Love. Me, though, I'm from Flint, Michigan. I am a Flintstone. I am also a Michigan State Spartan. And I am also here in the city of Detroit, Michigan. And what you brought up earlier in terms of your lineage, I was so fortunate enough to have the opportunity to start tracing my lineage as well. And I actually found an ancestor here doing some important work in the city of Detroit. In the 1930s, she was a first lady of the Greater Shiloh Baptist Church, was sat right into the Brewster Projects, which I found out was the very first housing projects, where Black families were forced to move and live because we were blocked out of the housing that was available here in Detroit. And so what they did was they built a high rise for our people here. But my ancestor definitely had an impact here. She did different food drives and fundraisers and adult education classes. And she has a recreation center here in the city of Detroit that is named in her honor as well. And her name is Mary Olivia Ross. So shout out to her and the work that she did for Black Americans and Black American families. And just excited to just kind of fill that vein a little bit. And I guess can I say it's one of my superpowers, right? So yeah, so good. It's good to be with you all tonight. We hope you enjoy the show. We have a lot in store for you.
Indeed. That was great. And so and why politics and Black love? Did we cover that part?
Go ahead.
Well, Politics and Black Love is a platform. We wanted to discuss politics and Black love because it's a critical political discussion that because we as Black Americans are always told to forgive our trespassers. But forgiveness is an act of love. Love is an emotion. And emotion should not be in politics. So that's why we call this show Politics and Black Love. Portia, do you want to tell us a little bit from your perspective?
Yeah. So with Sincerely Black Love, it's our hope that Black Americans develop a mindset of having a strong voter block of Black families. Something on our last show that I mentioned was a discovery of the pamphlet that was circulating in the early 1900s on the importance of and how and why Black Americans should be voting and how we shouldn't value our vote too high. But also what I understood from that time frame is that we had to vote as a family. And it was one vote per household. So we really need to strengthen the Black voters, our voting block. We have a Black American agenda, right? And so part of that agenda is repairing our Black families and doing that in a number of ways. And so what Sincerely Black Love hopes to do is, again, shine a light on the importance of Black families having a strong voter block in all elections, whether that's city, state, federal. We need to be involved and engaged. And as Black American communities, we need to honestly be a solidified voting bloc. So yeah, I know a lot of people, when you see the numbers that are running after elections are won or lost, what they're looking at are the Black voters, right? But delineation is one area in which we are focused on as well. And so we really want to really know and really just kind of separate ourselves from other people who may consider themselves Black but are not Black Americans. So yeah, that's what we're going to do.
And with the 2024 election season right around the corner, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, it is time for us to get geared up and prepared to start asking politicians those hard-hitting questions and no longer accepting dance moves, two-stepping, or weird TikTok videos where you go like this. No. We're going to do real things.
That was really weird.
I
The
know.
whole TikTok dances. I mean, they were really bringing out the coordination, right? The moves. You know, we're dancing to the pose. Am I right or wrong? Was that like a whole thing? Like like
Did you see the newest one where they were wobbling? They were like wobble,
yeah,
wobble, wobble, and then in their Timbs.
Brooke, it's really disrespectful. It's like we mean so much more than that. When you're dancing, we're not talking about the real issues that matter. And also just kind of done allowing politicians to talk at us. That's something that I learned a long time ago, is that they're talking at us and not to us. And now they're performing, they're putting on a show, and they're also putting on blackface, right, as well. So definitely had a conversation this week. It came up about who someone brought up the word minorities, and I think we need to have I don't know what we want to call it, not a retirement, but we need to lay that to rest. Okay, that along with people of color and things of that nature, because when they say that they are putting us set-asides, right? And how they coin it, though, the set-asides are for Black communities, but then you get to reading more into the language, and they start to infuse people of color and people who are minorities, and we're not minorities. We were never minorities.
Never.
Right? We were never minorities. So we have a lot of work to do. We're not going to be dancing. We're going to try to bring you like the information that's going on, that's not being shown on newscasts, right? It's not on CNN. It's not filtered, right? So we're a little unfiltered. We're off the script a little bit sometimes. But we're going to make sure that we are giving you the information that's important and what you need to think about and consider.
Amen. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our welcome. And now we're going to get into our trending topics.
Yeah, we're going to get some fire music behind that smoke.
Yeah. Baby steps.
We're gonna get some fire sounds. So what I brought this week to our hot topics was the presence of Ukrainians, and just the set-asides and the red carpet and all the help that is just being poured into their hands. And I just found it quite interesting. And so what came across my timeline since our last show was the New York career fair for Ukrainian refugees. And so, you know, me, I love to research, and that headline just kind of leaded me down a rabbit hole of, well, what's really being done and how much is being done for Ukrainians. And so the hot topic is that Ukrainians have like delineated job fairs that are only for Ukrainians. Yes, Black Americans, you can't go. It's not a job fair. It's not a job fair for you.
You're not welcome.
You can't go.
Okay.
I mean, it's specifically and exclusively for Ukrainians.
No, you're not welcome here.
You know, I want to go to one. I want to go to one, and I want to take my resume on in there and just kind of see if I'm welcome. Are Black Americans welcome to a Ukrainian job fair? You don't think so?
Or no?
Or no? Or no? So here's some other numbers that I thought was really fascinating. And again, I think these are some things that we really need to know, and we really need to think about, and really need to we need to push back on these things, right? Because they are not helping us as Black Americans, okay? And again, we just need to get out of this minority and people of color thing, because when you're talking minorities and people of color, you're not talking about Black Americans anymore.
Nope.
Not anymore.
Nope.
So in February, NBC News reported that the U.S. has admitted, get this, 271,000 Ukrainian refugees.
271?
Not 100, not, 271,000 Ukrainian refugees have been admitted into the United States since the Russian invasion. And get this, this is far above Biden's goal. Biden had a goal. To bring in other people. And his goal was 100,000. So he almost super exceeded his goal. And so more than 117,000 came through Biden's Uniting for Ukraine program. Where is the United for Black Americans campaign or program? Black Americans, do you remember when Biden was running for office and he said that, matter of fact, first of all, he called us African Americans. And maybe you'll want to talk about the OMB later, but he was exclusively talking to African Americans, and he said, African Americans have always had my back. So I'm going to have their backs. That right there, I heard it loud and clear. And this is, when the smoke and mirrors were really coming at us heavy, right? That news machine was really trying to make Joe cool, and he was for the people, and he was gonna help us. But I'll admit, I may have been a little absent-minded on like his real history and the harm that he inflicted on Black Americans. I wasn't paying attention, but I am now. Again, this, and that was tough love to know that I was so off cue. And should have been on cue, but we are uniting for Ukrainians. We are not uniting for Black Americans. Okay, don't show up at that job fair thinking they're gonna be, giving you an interview. You're not Ukrainian.
You're not Ukrainian.
You're not Ukrainian.
And they can see you not Ukrainian from a mile away.
And this is what really got me hot. Okay. And this is why I had to make this a hot topic. Okay. There's a family out in Colorado who came over. They're Ukrainians. I think they came through Biden's program. Neither here nor there. They are here. And upon their arrival, they brought kids with them, right? And it was just interesting because the kids were, obviously impacted by all of this change and transition. And the father, because Biden made this promise, the father had promised his kids, and his kids were skeptical because his father made this promise that there were all these riches that America would provide. The riches. His father promised these kids America would provide the riches.
And then they did.
And then they did. They got a $200 gift card where they had all of the hamburgers and hot dogs and fries that they could eat.
And it's not that we want hamburgers or we can't have hamburgers. It's that we're paying
for these hamburgers.
For the hamburgers, right.
And when it comes to jobs, where we are right now already in the job market, and inflation, the cost of living, just being able to live. Ukrainians have job fairs. And for the hot topic, we're demanding Black American job fairs and our reparations.
Amen. Amen.
So yeah, look into what's going on in your local cities. And if you see Ukrainian job fairs, pull up with your resume.
Excellent topic. All right. Next hot topic. Next hot topic. So reparations, right? It's always our topic number 2. We always try to, because that's the point. What do you think? Would marriage increase if Black Americans received reparations?
Great question. Would marriage rates increase if Black Americans received reparations?
Mm-hmm.
Flip side of that, would marriages last? If we had our reparations. And that's a good question. I think, what the statistics have always said is that 50% of marriages last and 50% don't. But I think what people don't really talk about is, that number of people who remarry, right, as well. But why are people getting divorced in general is due to financial reasons. Generally, that's the number one reason why marriages don't last. So what's going on with Black families, right? And what's going on with our children in our Black families, right? The cost of living, we just said, is increasingly high. And reparations would be an added advantage to our families. We can pay for our needs, right? And we can also pay for the education that we deserve, the protection that is warranted for our families, and the autonomous nature of just having our own so that we can provide for our own and build our own. And have our own communities, right? And I think that would also strengthen our voter block, right? Mm-hmm. I think that also would help in pushing that Black American agenda. If we had our reparations, that agenda would just have the gas on, our foot on the gas, we wouldn't let up. But I really think, if I'll be honest, if I had reparations, if I had my reparations, I probably definitely would do more in life. I would travel more. I would honestly find more Black Americans. I wouldn't necessarily have to I don't want to call it like that, that difference, right, of eligible men, right? um okay, so I'll tell you where I'm coming from. Remember
Yeah.
the movie Sprung? I think we were talking about that.
Yes.
So a little bit
So
of
cute.
Black love inspiration. It is such a cute movie, but there's a part in the movie where Tisha Campbell is talking with her friend and they're scanning the party, and who's there, and they're labeling these men. They're like doing, it's like a computer scan, right? And one guy in particular, they were like, okay, his shoes cost this, and they're going through his outfit and they're putting a price tag on everything, and I think everything was like $7,500, right? Like they were like, wait, this is how much everything should cost. Looking at about $7,500 there, and then he smiles and his teeth were decaying. Like
Oh, is that decay?
that was like decay.
Oh, I thought that was like a art form thing, like gold teeth but silver.
I saw black. So it looked like decay. Maybe it was decaying caps, silver caps, gold caps, or something like that. But I know I saw black. But it was like a reaction, like, no way, Jose. But like, hey, what if that man had reparations and he could pay to fix his teeth?
He would need to be able to pay to fix his teeth first, and then
Yeah. I mean, that gets your foot in the door, at least for introduction, Not saying you be going out, but that at least that maybe warrants an introduction, right? But just like, so then there were like so many other like labels that they were putting on men, and then in hindsight, I'm like, golly, we really, I mean, if we had the resources, to handle and manage the things that are traumas, our cost, right, to our livelihood, being able just to be cultured, right, get out, travel. Black Americans made many great accomplishments across this United States. And if we had the resources to travel, then we would also respect like that history, that rich history that we have. But what do you think though? What do you think about, like, do you think that with reparations that marriage rates would increase? I want to get married. First of all, I want a marriage, right? I want a marriage, but I also want a wedding. Weddings cost.
Yeah.
How many people decide not to have a wedding because of resources?
A lot.
Right. We should be able to have what we want.
Yeah.
Our ancestors died, sacrificed, lost, rebuilt, had it stripped away. We have the riches. We have the riches. But they were just stolen from us. And with that, the Black nuclear family in itself, right? I think that's what hurt us. But sorry, what are your thoughts?
So will there be more marriages? I think yes, with reparations, there will be more marriages. I think that we'll start going back to that. I think there's going to be a lot of arranged marriages.
I hope so.
I think so. With like first and second generation reparation descendants, right? So like when we get to reparations, I'm claiming it. Okay, so when we get reparations, and then I will, choose a mate, or at least a couple of different mates, right? Like a pool, right?
A
Of mate,
dating pool.
a
Mm-hmm.
dating pool, right? Black
Mm-hmm.
American,
Mm-hmm.
because we want them to marry somebody who's also had reparations.
We're gonna become like the most sought after in the dating pool. We will be. And
I
it
mean,
is
first, like we're not already.
we are already. We are already. But you know what? There is this smear campaign, right? There has been this long running smear campaign against Black American men, Black American women. We are demanding, we are mouthy, loud, ghetto. Black men are broke. They are
They say they abandon their children.
yes,
No,
that they
you
abandoned it.
arrested him when he went to go get milk and eggs.
Sure did. Sure did. Yeah, for something minuscule. Oh, he had expired tags. Is that really? I mean, really? That's like missing a payment.
Mm.
That's just missing a payment. Am I right or wrong?
You not wrong. You not
But
wrong.
so many Black American men, unfortunately, have lost their lives due to just dumb traffic stops, right? That is nothing but a missed bill to state government or some other office. And police take their badge to a whole new level. And I'm excited about the conversation that we'll have more on that. But I definitely think reparations will help Black Americans just be more willing to date. I've seen several threads go across Twitter where women are actually, and I'll find it maybe for the next broadcast. But there's a running list out there of reasons why we should not have a baby, why we should not get pregnant, right? And a lot of those reasons, with a very strong Black American agenda, we could, see those things not impact our community as much as they are right now. We have to start moving the needle in that direction. But yeah, a lot of things that reparations would help because the cost of having a baby, right? The cost of raising a baby has gone up tremendously as well. When you're talking about also just how Black women are treated when having a baby, Black women are dying at higher rates than any other group of people. And I think, again, reparations would allow for us to have those needed protections so that we can safeguard our families.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I tried. I'm doing the best I can. For you in the audience who doesn't know, I'm just getting over the flu. And we already had to reschedule this for the guest, and I didn't want us to reschedule it again. And I'm all about like calendar and timetables. So I just said, suck it up, Brooke. And I'm here, scratchy voice and all.
Scratchy voice and all. Oh man. But you know what? Every show that we've started, it's been an adventure. And again, I'm just excited to continue on broadcasting and bringing you things that revolve around Black Americans, politics, and Black love. So, but good health to you. We want you to continue getting better. But yes, I did have an issue with you coming on not being 100%, but here you are.
But it was way worse. Let me just tell you, it was worse. And she was like, "Are you gonna die? Wait, are you gonna be able to? This
You
is
gonna
not
make
you.
it?
You can't do this on camera." I was like, "Yeah, you're right."
I mean, this is more than the occasional I have to clear my throat, you know. A sip of water will do. No,
Right.
this is a little different. But no, yeah, just excited about just the array of topics that concern Black Americans, Black American families, our reparations, and how we need to move as a unit. Because what they're saying is by 2053, the net value, like what we bring, like the our families will be zero.
Net worth,
Net worth.
yeah.
0. 2053. It is 2023. They're saying in 20 years, people, 20 years, they're saying that Black American net wealth will be at 0. All the while, Ukrainian job fairs are happening in a city near you.
And that brings us, that's a weird laugh. I'm sorry. And that brings us for our special message from the blood bank. And today's special topic, today's hot topic, or not hot topic, we just finished and that was the end of our hot topics. So today we're talking about slave catchers. They're not police officers, they're slave catchers. So I'm going to go ahead and read over a statement or a little blurb about why we are discussing slave catchers and why they are not police. So perhaps you've heard about Dormtainment or the Comedy Trap House News. Well, Comedy Trap House News host Marvin Telp, who is a first generation immigrant, is having some difficulties understanding the police brutality of today. In a August 2022 episode of the Comedy Trap House News, he said, in recent years, police brutality has become a mainstream issue. Others became aware of police brutality and what was going on and began lending a voice to the fight. He said that he is a self-acclaimed actor, writer, director, and producer, but he in a newscast, he said he reiterated the old slaver term of to protect and serve, not knowing that the original term was to protect and serve whites. White America. That term, that slogan used to fully be to protect and serve white America or whites. Right. But they shortened it as time went on. However, that slogan, which is ironic because he's an immigrant from the diaspora, he was saying that the police department is supposed to protect and serve, and I was telling him, no, well, you are the one person that they will never protect and serve. They were never meant to, and they never will. Just like that time when they hired that Black woman, Justine Jones, to be the town manager, and the entire police department quit. Yes. We can't hear you, but okay.
Yes. Real time, I am trying to fix my mic.
So when that happened, the whole entire police department, it was only 5 guys, but still, it was the entire police department, the police chief, everybody quit and they left. Because to have a Black woman over slave catchers kind of negates the whole idea of slave catching. And so it's impossible. An ex-police chief named David Cooper, Couper, he said, it's impossible to change policing, aka slave catching, on a state level. because because of the oath to protect and serve, that specific oath that they take is ingrained into the state policies. So for those who don't know, the state, whenever a state does something, so states have absolute control. Contrary to popular belief, where people think that the federal government tells states what to do, it's actually reverse. The states tell the government what to do, but the states get funding from the federal government. So it makes it seem like there's some sort of like back and forth checks and balances thing, but there's not. There's not. So, for example, Biden, when he passed the lynching laws for Emmett Till, remember that? He could only hold the federal slave catchers accountable for lynchings. He can't punish state police, state slave catchers, because he doesn't have any jurisdiction over them. Almost like in the movies when you see like something happens and then the FBI comes in and they're like, well, we supersede you in jurisdiction, blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch of malarkey. But anyway, the point is the states can pretty much do whatever they want. And then the federal government can decide to pay for it or not. And so for descendants of chattel slavery, this is a really good time for us to really take a look at our surroundings and realize that the International Crime Court, right, the ICC, the United Nations, the UN, or even the World Health Organization, nobody is coming to save Black Americans. It doesn't matter how much genocide we go through, what kind of genocide it is. It doesn't matter if the genocide is in your face or it's in secretive. Nobody is coming. When you see DeSantis randomly decide to do things or to change laws, blah, 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 nobody's coming. Martin Luther King. Go ahead.
I was going to say, not only is no one coming, but you're paying the bill too. You're going to pay the bill. You're a taxpayer.
Yeah.
So you're going to end up paying the bill.
You're not a taxpayer. You are the taxpayer. Because not all immigrants have to pay taxes. And if the immigrants are not paying taxes, and then the white people are writing off everything, and Donald Trump is only paying $750 worth of actual taxes, we are the taxpayers.
We are the taxpayers. Yeah. It's so ridiculous. Even when cops, right, they settle out of court, right? They, had their investigation and whatever wrongdoing was happening. It's not these municipalities that are paying for it. No, our tax dollars and our resources and our money are going to pay for their negligence, and their slave catcher mentality, their activity, not just mentality, but their slave catcher activity.
Mm-hmm. This viewer says y'all are always whining.
Hey. Hey, we're telling the truth. It's always everything evil except Black people. Oh man. Man, I'm so glad our next guest is coming in because he's definitely going to lay it down. See, here's my thing, right? Mm-hmm. And I heard this earlier. Let's get down to the mathematical data, okay? Mm-hmm. Because what are the numbers saying, right? Because if we were bad everything, right? I think we would be the one holding power. We would be the one, like definitely things would not be the way that they are playing out today. If we, right. So no. But we appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. Please share the live.
Yes, please do. All right. So our next guest just joined us in the back. And so I'm so excited to bring him to the stage and bring him to LinkedIn. He's known as Conscious Outlaw. He's a member of Conscious. He's the founder of Conscious Outlaw Media, and he is our eyes and ears on the ground in St. Louis. And he's going to tell us a little bit about, he's going to tell us a little bit about what's happening in St. Louis and what is the difference? Why is it so important why is it so important to call them slave catchers and not police in St. Louis? So let's go ahead and bring him to the stage now. Conscious, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hold on 1 second. My camera's messed up. I'm just getting in from work. I'm really just getting in from work. My backdrop's not as messed up. I'm in my basement. So I'm trying to get a good back. All right, how you all doing? Hey Portia, hey Brooke. How y'all doing?
We're doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great actually. So
good to see you, brother. Welcome, and hopefully you had a blessed day. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Really excited about what you're going to share with us today. So thanks so much.
Okay, yeah. So I'll start off with this. I'm St. Louis, Missouri, Ferguson native. My parents moved in there in 1984. And we lived there all the way till 2000. Then I moved to another suburb inside of St. Louis called Florissant. But my children stayed living. My oldest child lived in Ferguson actually when the Mike Brown situation happened. And we literally were there watching the body sit there and lay outside of my son's apartment. So the history of the slave catchers in St. Louis, I'm sorry I didn't do the actual research, but I can just tell you from what I have known about St. Louis and the history and Ferguson and what I went through personally. During the crack epidemic in the 80s, like I said, I was a young child, probably like 9 or 10. In Ferguson, the police were very harsh. There's a lot of profiling. The guys with the good cars, they pulling them over, they're doing this and doing that. And so by the time I was about in 1996, when I graduated out of high school, I'm dating myself, I had a nice car, come from a good family. My dad got me a car note for a graduation present. He didn't buy me a car, he got me a car note. So after that, I had a nice car. It was like a 96. And in 96, I was driving around a 1992 car. And so the police, I guess they thought I was a drug dealer or something like that and didn't think the car went to me. And they literally, someone had broken into my car. And when they broke into my car, this is Ferguson, okay? Just giving y'all a little quick history. When they broke into my car, they broke the little window and they stole the radio system and all the little nice stuff I had. And when they did that, I had to wait a while to get it fixed. Well, the police thought I stole a car. And me and my friends, like I said, we 17, 18, 19, young. They pull us over and then they say, whose car is this? I'm like, it's my car. And they're like, no, it's Michael Gregory. I'm like, I'll say my government or whatever. But that's my dad's name. We had the same name. They ran, they found out everything was legit. Then when they let us go, they looked us dead in our eyes and said, remember, the police are not your friend. Yeah, that's literally what they told me as a 18-year-old black man, fresh out of high school, trying to make his way with a car that he earned you know what I'm saying, that I pay for, go to work for. They literally told me, police are not your friend. Then, so that was like in like 96, 97. No, that was like in there 96. So it was real tense in that area for years. The police kept doing things like that, chasing people, just doing whatever you want to imagine. They were doing it. They were making it uncomfortable, not responding like how they should, literally worried about all the wrong things. High speed chases, that's all they care about, drugs. So fast forward to Mike Brown. The area that I grew up in, it turned into literally housing projects. Like it's 3 separate apartment complexes. And so the area went down. And so with that happening, a lot of people outside of Ferguson had family members in there. So it was kind of like a little midpoint area. So it was a lot of everything, elements of Black Americans. I'm not going to go negative, but it was a little bit of everything going on over there. So with that being said, finally, I guess it was a head. It came to a head with the Mike Brown situation. Them constantly, coming after the youngsters, telling them what they can and can't do, and finally, it's an urban legend that him and the officer. Well, not urban legend. The streets know that him and the officer had a prior relationship, as far as like they were doing something. And I know for a fact that the police were crooked. So they never talk about that. You'll never hear it outside of St. Louis, but we all know that was the execution. And from the autopsies and all of that, we know that was the execution. It was not a self-defense. There was no struggle. The guy got shot with his hands up and all that good stuff. So, so that goes to the most recent events of the slave catchers in Ferguson. Now, I currently live in the city. We have a metro area. The city police are generally a little bit more Black American heavy. So we don't have the racism issue, I would say, as heavy.
Okay.
But we do have situations where they will target certain elements of people and give them plant drugs on them and stuff like that. And that can be some of our kind doing it to each other too. So that's just to say that, the slave catcher thing, it goes cross color when you actually get down to it, because there's a lot of other examples. But I want to segue that into what's going on in St. Louis specifically about the money and what I have specifically been doing. Okay, so there is like about $1 billion on the table for St. Louis between COVID money, which is $500 million, and $750 million for the Rams illegally vacating St. Louis. And inside of that, we had 28 wards where the money would be split. Well, as soon as all of this COVID money and all of this Rams money hit the table, they decided to redistrict and cut our wards from 28 to 14. And what that does is that makes a bigger slice of the pie for us to split up. Okay, so the ward that I live in currently now is called the 22nd Ward. It's been fused in with the 2nd Ward and the 13th Ward. And they're going to make it the 13th Ward. So we're only going to have 14 versus 28. There are 40 people running for 13 aldermanic seats. No, I'm sorry, 14 aldermanic seats. And most of these seats are people knocking each other out that already were sitting inside our government. The alderman I'm working with, Miss Norma Walker, she won her seat in September from a special election from a situation where an alderman was indicted. And when that happened, the alderman that was indicted had allocated $37 million for our ward. Now, for some strange reason, that money has not been spent. And we have an election April 4th. Well, this ties back to the slave catchers. So Inside that money, that's strictly for improvements, for beautifications, for education centers, the stuff that we need anyway, that we should have anyway. Well, just lately, for some strange reason, our elected officials have been under attack. Our circuit attorney of St. Louis, she's been the attorney general of Missouri has been trying to remove her. Our mayor, for some strange reason, the black police officers that I don't know the exact name, but the ethical police officers, but it's the Black Police Officers Union.
Yeah.
We have two police officers union in St. Louis City, and they're split, they're segregated. Ain't that crazy in 2023? You have the white police officers union, and you got the black people police officers union.
It's not crazy.
Well, for some strange reason, the Black Police Officers Union are not supporting our Black American mayor. She is a Black American. She's not a tether. She's just Black American. She has lineage. I know her dad was in politics before, but we know about that. We can go too deep into that. But they're not supporting her anymore, and they're supporting a state takeover of our city police force because of our homicide and crime rate. And she's fighting it. And for some reason, we just hired, after I think the first time in history, we hired a chief of police that didn't go up through the ranks in St. Louis, and literally they hired an outside person that was the chief of police, and I believe like Delaware, and worked in Chicago, and they're sending an outsider in, I guess, to clean it up or something like that. And the mayor appointed him or picked him or whatever. It was no voting process or nothing like that. Literally, it's an appointed position. And I guess, I don't know if that vote of no confidence from the black police officers and them saying, go ahead and take it over for the state, like them, they are actually saying they want the state to take over the city of St. Louis Police Department, because I guess they think they'll get better benefits or raises, or they be state employees or something like that. So there is a lot going on here. I mean, a lot. Like, this is 100-year redistricting, this $1 billion on the table. All of these races going on, and it's like really flying under the radar. Nobody's talking about it. So, and the aldermen and all of those people, they get to have a sway and a say on a lot of things, like public security and response time. We have a horrible response time in my ward. My alderman, literally, a drunk driver hit her parked car, and it took 2 days for the police to come over and do a police report so she could file for her insurance. Yeah. So that's slave catching. I mean, if you think about it, they're not being public servants. They literally are slave catching, planting drugs, running around patrolling, worrying about crime. But when it's a real crime, when people have financial situations, they're not coming to respond to that.
Nope.
And I thought it was so shocking that an actual public official inside the city couldn't get a 24-hour, barely a 24-hour response. It was right at 24 hours before they responded to her car getting hit, so she could file her insurance.
No, that's horrible.
Yeah,
that is horrible. It's like they're doing everything but their jobs. Right? Everything but what they say they are supposed to do. You say you're supposed to protect and serve. It says nothing about anything else. Here's the thing that we brought up earlier, Conscious. You know, a lot of Black American men, Black American people in general, get pulled over for something as minor as in a traffic stop, their tail light, or expired tags. That has nothing to do with protecting and serving. What are you really protecting and serving? And if I'm not mistaken, I think during COVID, at the height of COVID, a lot of those things were, they kind of removed the importance of it. Wasn't a priority, to, run down to the Secretary of State and renew your license or renew your tags, right? Because they, staffing was this, because people were sick, people weren't coming to work, things of that nature. So that those things were kind of eased up on, right? But in some areas they weren't, right? Because some of these police officers were just completely bored. There was nothing to protect and nothing to serve. So what they were doing were, pulling over innocent people, and they were literally losing their lives. But yeah, they're supposed to be protecting and serving, and Black Americans continuously pay with our lives and with our pockets. So yeah, it's when you look at the badge, I think for me, when I learned about the history of the police force and who they were and what they were, that is the reality. That is the reality. That is what it was. When we go to see a doctor, right? And so say we've been with a doctor for 25, 35 years of our lives, but we move to a new location, we have to acquire new medical care, and we have to have a new primary doctor, right? Because you're not going to travel 45 days and nights to go see that doctor that you used to have, right? You're going to have a new doctor. And what is that doctor?
New doctor?
And that new doctor is going to want what? Your medical history.
Yep.
Okay. So our history as Black Americans is very important. It's like our medical report card, right? The health of Black Americans, right? And I can't say that, this is all this. And to Mr. R. Fire, just that just shows your ignorance, right? You don't know the medical history of Black Americans and the slave catchers' impact on our ancestors, right? Cannot be negated. It can't be swept under the rug. It has to be discussed because they wore badges, right? And their badges look just like badges of today, a redesign and a whole new rebranding, right? But it's the same people, right? It's the same organization. Nothing has changed but the marketing, the logo, the message, the slogan, right? That's all that's changed. But who they are has not.
Oh wait. Nope. There's a small change.
Small change?
Budget.
Oh, budget. How
they get that money now?
Dollar bills, y'all.
Something I saw that was interesting today. One of our other brothers from Atlanta, King Montana, he put a post out there and he showed, and I used to live in Atlanta for 4 years. I know this is for a fact. Their their sheriff, or the top cop of South Atlanta, he's going to prison for 4 years for abusing inmates in the county jail. And they have a $500,000 tank that patrols down there. And they inside, and they need help down there too.
Because they're protesting that Cop City.
Yeah. So I mean, it goes really deep, and it's really sad that we would think that when we get people like us, other Black Americans, that get in that official position, that they wouldn't abuse their power and they would actually look out for us. But it seems to be what.
Yeah. But are the police union, so the police officers the slave catchers in the Black union, do we know for sure that they are Black Americans?
That's a great question. And see, I think that because we just came through the delineation conversation, and it's not a common conversation, just like reparations is not a common conversation, I think that a lot of people don't understand how infiltrated we are. And so people don't even ask that question.
Right.
People don't even ask that. They don't question it.
They see someone with melanated skin and they automatically identify with something. Oh, we have, it's like they run to what we share in common, and it's our melanated skin tone. and it may be a little bit of, those injustices that we're all experiencing because we're melanated, but we are not the same. Okay, because how it's hitting you, it hits different from us, right? That's what they always say. It hits different for us. So no, I'm not going to subscribe to we're all the same. No, definitely time to start checking people, right? That where your people from. We need to get to that. And we need to do that as a whole. Conscious, you bring up a very good point that I think we're taking for granted, right? We don't know how infiltrated we are. And not just infiltrated like physically, but also mentally, right? Because a lot of people aren't, and I'm starting, and hopefully we'll talk about it more next week, but being woke. Okay? Being woke. Right? Because what it used to mean and what it still means to the Black American community is we got to wake our people up to what is going on, right? History has been whitewashed, right? Oh. It's being minimized. It's being eliminated. It's being erased.
And I hate the term whitewashed.
Right.
It's being washed up. They got the color. You're washing like, hold on a second. Let's go here with this analogy. When you do your laundry, right? You don't put your colors in with the whites.
Hello.
Okay? Hello. When you're washing your laundry, you don't do it. So don't do that to our communities. Okay? Don't do that with our history. Okay? We don't wash our laundry together. That's why you separate your colors from your whites. And I'll let my mic rest right there.
Drop that. I love this, and I'm so glad and thankful that y'all brought me on here. I want to be better prepared because I want to be a constant guest for y'all. I love your mic, Portia, your headset. I'm about to invest in that. I actually got an office space in the studio. I'm fixing up right now. That's why. I just would love to just continue these conversations. When I'm a little bit more settled and can get these and have these good conversations because they need to be had. And, we need to put exposure because a lot of us do a lot of work and have a lot of products and things for our people, but we just don't have the exposure or we don't have a place where people can go. That's why I have my .com. I'm still in the building phase of it. It's just like an introductory, but I want links. I want to help Sincerely Black Love have a little link on there, a free link. I want to do that. I got some other businesses that I want to work with, that I want to have a central place. So I'm just very honored and excited, and thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to come on here with y'all and have this great discussion.
Thank you for coming. Well, Conscious, we try to keep this show short. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about? Reparations is also a big topic for this show. Did you have any reparations news for St. Louis that we hadn't gotten a chance to mention?
Oh, great. Thank you. Yes, I do. Okay, so we have a reparations commission here that was recently formed by our mayor, and she has been forming it for over a year. She's part of the More Mayors that's ran by the More Mayor Commission that's put together by the former, I believe, governor of California, Eric Garcetti. And this is very common. Brooke knows about it. I'll send her the link. They have these more mayors are getting together in Kansas City, Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, Austin, Durham, North Carolina, California, of course. I can't get them all off my head right now. But basically, all of them are doing what they're doing here and what they did in California. They're setting up commissions and they're handpicking people. They're not asking us. They're not even telling us when these meetings are, and they're going to try to tell us what they're going to give us. And I'm letting it go.
I want order. Shout out to Eric Mays. I want order. Okay. Shout out to Eric Mays, Flint, Michigan.
Right.
Okay. City Council.
So basically, it's conflicting information. I actually applied to be on the commission, but I didn't. There were glitches, and then it appears that she's picked people, but the list is still open. And I shared it on my feed on some of my other social medias like my Twitter and everything like that. So we're working on that. They're supposed to meet, and by me working closely with my alderman and this election that's very crucial that's coming up April 4th. Norma J. Walker, new 13th. That I'm focused on that right now because if she doesn't get to hold her position for the next 4 years, I'm just gonna be a voice in the wind yelling. So I won't have any power or anybody. So basically, that's going on reparation wise here. It's gonna catch fire, and I want everybody to be on alert in their cities. We can get the link. It's moremayors.org. Everybody can go there and check it out, and they have a list of every mayor that's in there. So be on the lookout for a reparation task force coming to a theater near you with tethers and coons in it. Also, I'm sorry I had to go there, but yeah, that's all for me, and I need to get settled in. But like I said, we'll do this again. So if y'all want to close out, hang here till you close out. But thank you all again.
Thank you,
Thank you, Conscious.
Conscious.
We'll
It's
talk
always a
again.
pleasure. Yes, look forward to having you back soon.
Thank you. Come back soon. Well, that's awesome. Well, we are not going to keep you long. We're not going to stay before you long, as we like to say. We've actually gone over a little bit over time. Portia, do you have anything you'd like to talk about before we let the audience go?
Just to kind of tip on the heels of Conscious, Detroit has also seated 13 members, I believe, for the Detroit Reparations Task Force. So please look out for that information. Again, nothing is being advertised or marketed or put on to the news or so that we can hear it, right? We hear more about sports results than we do about what's concerning the constituents in the city of Detroit, and I'm sure other cities as well. But wanted to leave you all with a little Black love inspiration. Please go watch the movie Sprung. Go watch that movie. It is a cute movie. It's so nostalgic, right? I really felt good watching Sprung. It's got Tisha Campbell. It's a Guy Torry in it, and some other. John Witherspoon was in it as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. Yeah, so definitely you got to coordinate, right? So
yeah,
Pops was doing things in was that 97? Or was it 97 or 95? No. Anyway, it's an old movie. Go watch it. It's free on Freebie, Tubi, and Pluto. Was it Pluto?
I think so.
Pluto TV, and you can watch for free there, yo. So, that's all we got, y'all. Love y'all. If you're looking for love, you can find it in the right places, okay? And so, if you do visit Sincerely Black Love, we'd love to get you on our roster. So love you all, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Politics and Black Love. Join us again when we come back for our next episode on April the 21st, where we're discussing Sheila Jackson Lee and her refusal to discuss reparations with Houston voters and immigrants. Are there too many immigrants in American politics? Well, have a great night. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.